In today's episode, we are diving down the woo-woo rabbit hole and talking all about spirit signs. Hey, we're Brit and Chris Carmichael, and you're listening to the Elevated Life Podcast. Throughout the 13 years we've been together, we've never ceased in our endless quest to better ourselves.
We've studied top experts, philosophers, and gurus. After years of personal self-experimentation, we found the tools for shifting your beliefs, moving through fears, and developing a positive mindset.
If you're ready for a breakthrough, then you're in the right place because we're here to empower you to take control of your life with simple mindset shifts that create radical transformation.
We'll be diving into topics like personal growth, health, philosophy, spirituality, relationships, success, and mindfulness.
So create some space for yourself and get comfy. It's time to become the badass you were born to be. So today I intuitively get this feeling like I want to go to Salada for lunch. And Chris drops me off. I'm standing in line and I look over to my right and I see this hot pink Mercedes SUV. And I immediately knew it was the girl standing in front of me. And I said, "Hey, is that your car out there?" And she said, "It is." And I said, "It's funny because hot pink cars are a spirit sign for me." And she said, "Wow, it's interesting that you would say it's about spirit because I decided I would gift myself this present after a 17-year abusive relationship. We just got a divorce and I wanted to celebrate my spirit. From being so repressed, I thought I would, do something that would allow that out." And I said, "Oh yeah, you're letting your sparkle magic out into the world." She probably thought I was crazy, but I knew right then and there, standing in line, that my spirit guides were with me. And that ultimately kind of like opened the rabbit hole door to this conversation today, because when I asked what topics you'd like us to cover, someone wrote spirit signs. So I know that today was divinely guided. And it's so amazing what happens when you pay attention to those signs.
I think we were first reading, what was it, the Celestine Prophecy? Was that the book? I feel like that was the book where...
Notice the synchronicities.
Was noticing the synchronicities. So, you hear about it a lot of times in like manifestation stuff. But it's about figuring out what is that sign for you. And Brit's was automatically a pink car. She goes, "I don't know if this stuff works or not." And I was like, "Well, I don't know if it works or not. So let's try it." Everything for us is an experiment that we try. That's why a lot of times failure is something that's really easy to deal with, because if it's an experiment, how do you fail at it? You just, all right, well, that didn't work. Well, let's try another experiment. And so we took on noticing signs and synchronicities as an experiment. Like, will we actually see these things? So Brit picks a pink car, which never see pink cars. I mean, almost never. And it wasn't until now. We have one. I don't know where she lives, but this lady drives bright Barbie pink pickup truck. Big pickup truck, as pink as, it is like nail polish. Bold pink. And we see her nonstop. She will literally just lap around where we live. And it's crazy because
The timing.
It's always in a specific moment. It happens a lot of times when we used to go live all the time on Facebook. It would happen during our Facebook lives, and I wouldn't ever see her the rest of the week. It would just, during that live, here she goes, just kind of driving by. And they're always in moments. I picked a Dodge car. Challenger. And we called them Bambalams for whatever reason. I don't know.
Oh, Black Betty. Bambalam.
Yeah, so we called them Bambalams. And so it would be interesting because we would go on road trips to Colorado or just somewhere much further than where we live, and you're on the road for a long time, and there would be moments almost always where you have that feeling of, am I driving even on the right road? Like, is this, and you haven't seen a car for 45 minutes, and it's weird because I'd always end up looking up in my rear view mirror, and there's that car right behind us, which is weird. Of course, you can say that that's coincidence, but it started happening often enough in specific moments and situations where I would see them, but they would never be this kind of car. They would be this kind of way, or they wouldn't be pink. And it is a reminder. Like, I wasn't into this when we first started. This is another one of those things I was like, what are we doing now? And
what are we doing now?
Yeah,
like
100%.
I bring something to the table every day. Like, hey, let's try this weird shit.
Yes, for the most part. Yeah. And it's funny because so much of it is stuck. Some of the stuff we did, and we're like, that's not for us. But then there's been so much that we've kept. And I feel like starting to notice things in life especially whatever sign you pick. Brit has a spirit animal that's a fox. So when we notice foxes, it's like huge. There's no foxes where we live, but you'll see them every now and again. It's just they're not normally there, but if you look, it's weird. You spot them out there, and it's always in that right moment where you needed something, or you needed a message, or you needed some guidance, or you're just feeling down or something. And then boom, there's that sign that you have, and it's right there in front of you. And it's just like that personal reminder of like getting back to like yes, the world's great. I forgot for a moment. I got too lost in my own head. So the signs for me always just bring me back to the present moment. Like that's to me what they always represent, is coming back that in the present moment everything's already there.
Like you're in the right place at the right time. Just a little wink.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit, because I feel like we've just like jumped into like, here's all these cool signs. But what I really want to share is how we kind of got to that. And I picked up the book. Obviously, the Celestine Prophecy was great with the synchronicities. But what really got me into this work was the Ask Your Guides book by Sonia Choquette. And she was talking how we have all different kinds of guides: creative guides, writer guides, runner guides, all these different guides that are performing tasks on the other side for you. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, okay, whatever. And one of the things that I realize is that when we ask for a sign, we usually use our logic to kind of sabotage and be like, oh, well, that was just a coincidence, like Chris said, or you come up with a logical and analytical reason as to why you found that penny next to your car when like when you were thinking about, hey, what's the next step? Or is there anyone with me? I need to feel loved and supported. It's always interesting the timing in which things happen. But I realized a lot of the times when the signs show up, we are so logical and we're not in our intuitive mind that we miss the signs over and over. They're like trying to hit you in the face, right? I remember the story of your friend Alex when he was like, I'm looking for a sign to like ask my wife to marry, ask my girlfriend to marry me. And when he stepped outside of his car, there was a huge billboard that said, just ask her already. Like, yeah. What? Like, usually those kind of signs aren't so damn clear. Sometimes they are, but most of the time we are missing them because our logic says, oh, well, it was just a normal ladybug. That doesn't mean anything. But when you choose your sign, this is what we've been talking about, how I chose a pink car and Chris chose the Challenger. When you choose a certain sign, and a lot of people use pennies or rainbows or feathers, and we played that game for a long time too.
Which is fun.
And music. I chose a bunch of songs. Like when this song comes on, then I'll know my dad's with me, But it's really important that you decipher the code. Like you decide what it is that you want to put out there so that when it shows up, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. This is the sign. Here it is, crystal clear. So that you can't make that logical, well, I don't know. Maybe this happens this would always happen. Ice cream cones on the sidewalk. I don't know, or whatever it is.
Yeah. The other important thing is to make sure that you're not imposing your will on it. So you can ask for your specific sign, but you can't create how it's going to show up for you.
The unicorn.
Definitely. You got to tell the unicorn story.
Okay. So I was reading this book called Embracing the Moon, and
do you realize how many things we do in our lives because we read a book?
Damn books.
Listen, 10 pages a day. Everybody needs to get on this. 10 pages. Get a book. If you're not a book reader, not just audiobooks. I love doing that. It's cheating. I enjoy it. But just read a regular book. I've been talking 10 pages a day for so many years. This has been my method since I was in second grade. So get on these 10 pages a day. It's very easy. They now have in like 75 hards promoting the 10 pages a day. I love it. More people need to be readers. It just opens you up to new thoughts and ideas. Most of the things we are talking about is either someone came and talked to us about it, or a personal friend, a colleague, someone reached out, asked if we knew about this, or we read about it in a book. Most new information comes from somebody else. It's not you just falls into your lap. They're just going to come tell you about it. And so make sure that you are open enough to listening to some of these opportunities, because sometimes, like Britt said, the signs are there. You're just not noticing them. So be open. Get yourself a book. Get yourself a bunch of books.
Oh, I love that we always do book recommendations every month in the club too. Like,
yes.
We've read so many books that every topic we cover inside the club, we have a whole bookshelf filled with different resources for you to pick and choose from. So anyway, I was reading this book called Embracing the Moon, and it was a true story about these two girls in Oregon that had gone into the woods and they had actually visually seen a unicorn. And one of the girls refuses to talk about it, is almost traumatized by it. And the other one was so mesmerized in the magic that she wrote books about it. And so I was reading about it, and I told Chris we were just about to go to Oregon. I was like, oh, when we go to Oregon, I want to see a unicorn. unicorn. I mean, I was full blown in the throes of manifesting your life. Your thoughts create your reality. You can do anything, be open to receive. And so I was 100% sure I was going to meet a unicorn. Like, it was going to happen. So we get to Oregon and we have this really cool Airbnb in Portland, and we walk outside the Airbnb and I look over at the neighbor's yard and I notice there's this like crazy looking garden. So I walk over to the garden and I walk up and I realize there's this like rainbow gravel path. And so I'm like, it's just crazy. There's like a castle from the fish tank. I'm like, what is happening? And I'm looking this little rainbow road, and all of a sudden I notice right next to it is a freaking unicorn, a little plastic unicorn statue. And it hit me so clear. My intuitive voice was like, here's your unicorn. And I laughed because I thought, we are co-creating here. We can ask for what we want, but we have to be open enough to receive it when it shows up in its own unique form.
Yeah, so I think what's really important about what you're saying, and this is almost like the trick to all this, and that is that you need to be asking questions. You need to be asking your guides. You need to be asking all these things. What the asking part does is leave your logical mind out of it. So if you're saying statements, that's your logical mind. If you're asking questions, that says, show me. Show me something special. Show me a cool sign. Hey, I'd love to see a sign tonight. And when you get into that mode, it's different. It's not like, I want to see a unicorn. It's going to be 4 feet tall. It's going to be this, like, it's too much. Like we're not like those kind of magicians. It's like a different kind of a thing. And so you have to be extremely open. So asking your questions, those kind of questions constantly, not like this will never show up for me, because guess what you're doing there? Like you're defining what your reality is so that your mind wouldn't notice it, even if it just ran into you. And so what you instead want to do,
like Ramey's deer in
my
her
gosh,
spirit guide meditation.
Yes.
She's like, I'm going to the cabin to meet my spirit guides, which if you guys haven't already done Chris's spirit guide meditation, it's something he sells over on his website. Oh my God. It's like a game changer. It's how I go talk to my past loved ones, develop my chakra, clear my chakras, connect to my spirit animal. Like, oh, okay. Go get it. It's so amazing. But we were guiding one of the, at the retreat, one of the girls was like, get out of the way, Grandma. I'm trying to find my spirit guide. And we're like, that was your spirit guide. She was literally like...
She was like, no one was there but my grandma.
Yeah, I'm like, you kind of missed it. It was her. It's so funny. It really can be right in front of your face and... or in your mind.
You miss it. You miss it so often. So ask the open questions and be ready for whatever that looks like. It almost, at least for me, it hardly ever comes how I picture it. It just doesn't. I don't know if my visualization is messed up, but I hardly ever picture it the way it happens. It is normally better. It is normally something that's even cooler than what I originally. I mean, that kind of, obviously if we'd seen a real unicorn, that would have been super legit. But the fact that it was just like this toy unicorn was hilarious. And it was like, because she had been nonstop talking about a unicorn, and there's no shot you're seeing that in someone's random garden. Like that's just not a thing that it
was weird.
It's just not a thing, and it's like that all the time now. And so what ends up happening is when you pick these things, what ends up happening is that you get sucked into this happiness mode. Because you see the sign and it's just like another shot of this happiness. Maybe it's the dopamine that hits you, but it's another one of those repeatedly in your life.
It builds trust and faith, I think, in some kind of a higher divine orchestration of something.
I think it makes the world in some way a little more beautiful. Like it's a little more sunshiny, a little more rainbow. It's not just kind of dreary
and exciting.
Well, just here we are. We're just here till we die. It's so doom and gloom. But there's a lot of things that are cool to notice on the way. And I feel like if you miss this spot, then there's something that you skipped out on that feels good that you don't know about.
Yeah, you have to look for the magic, and it's there. Like if you start to develop that trust and, for example, you start with choosing the sign, but then, as you get more confident in that communication, you can just let it be open to interpretation and you can build your own repertoire. I mean, using your clairvoyance and your psychic abilities ultimately is building up a language with your own soul. It's like your own personal language. And so, for example, if one psychic sees an apple in her mind, it could be like her health. But if another interprets it as like, oh, this is for a teacher, this is education, or this is a sin, or they've done something wrong. Like, so many people can interpret it differently when looking at signs. So it's so important to develop your own language. But I really feel like once you get past the like, oh my God, this is actually happening, like something's here, because you have to prove to your logical mind, like, well, I don't know, we're all skeptical in the beginning, but once you start to see that the magic really is there, it's fun to leave it open to interpretation. For example, when my biological father passed, we always have decided to dedicate a round of pool in his honor. And so Chris and I always love to go play pool on his birthday. And oddly enough, his birthdays, rituals. Another angel number, right, is one. His birthday's 111, so 111. Like, those are another sign that your angels are trying to use to communicate with you, because numbers are a universal language. So angels typically like to use those numbers. So my dad's birthday is 111. And that morning I said a little prayer to him. I said, Dad, happy birthday. Show me a sign that you're with me today. That was it. Plain, simple, not, it has to be like this. Show me 13 balloons that are purple and, on the east side of the road. It is nothing like that. Just, Dad, show me a sign. And every year we go play pool. And that night we went to the pool hall. We got to the pool table, and all of a sudden I look up, and above the table there's a balloon, and it says, happy birthday. And I knew that was my dad's sign that he was there at the pool hall, waiting for me to kick Chris's ass.
Oh, boy. It's just amazing for any of these things to actually happen, how much of life has to conspire to help you. Like, for that balloon to be in there, someone had to sell the balloon, someone had to go buy it, there had to be an event that was happening, someone had to take it into the room that we were going to be into, they had to leave it there. Like, it's like so many things had to happen just to get to that thing. And let's say that, like, signs didn't really exist and they're absolutely meaningless. Let's say that was the truth. How bleak of a worldview would that be? Like, how disempowering that is. Like, realizing there are things that we can't always communicate in words. Remember, words were just created by other human beings. And so, like, so many of your life experiences you have because you can communicate them in words. But that's only as gifted as someone is with language. Like, there are things that we experience in life that we don't have a way to process because we lack the communication skills to actually talk about them. And so sometimes, like, numbers are great. The angel number thing was a deep rabbit hole to go down. But the other part is using signs. Maybe it's you see a certain animal or a certain bird, or this kind of thing happens when you're feeling this way. And it's about being present and noticing all of the little intricacies of life and being able to follow where your emotions and thoughts are going to what is happening outside for you. And then being aware, casting a big net of awareness all the way around you and saying, oh, I did notice that. Oh, I am noticing these things. It enriches the life. It enriches all of your experiences. And it allows you, especially if your partner's into it too, man, you can have some fun. Notice, just like, imagine rather than just only going and people watching, imagine if you went out together somewhere and all you did was notice the signs.
Let's go spirit sign watching.
It would feel so good. And it's like, oh my God, did you see that? Hey, did you see that? It's like so much more exciting than just talking about people's dramas or what their shoes are, or what the haircut looks like. Like, being able to find those signs in life and really capitalize on them and like build something up inside you just feels excellent.
It's so funny because when I got out of the car today to go to lunch, we were really going to pick up a package, which is kind of funny, and like how all the events got us out of the house. And
conspiring.
So we got a package from Air Professional, got some cool hair products, y'all. And I get out of the car and there's a penny right next to my, like on the ground. I'm like, okay, I see you. Like, thank you. And I put it in my pocket, and it was just like a little nod, like, all right, my angels are with me. And then I'm standing in line and I look over and there's a pink car. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm paying attention now. What is the deal? And it's just so interesting how if you learn to look for the magic, it's always there. And that gives you this sense of safety and support that I feel like so many souls are lacking.
Yeah, I feel like it's a big nod toward like this inner peace that you can have. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always have to feel scary. It doesn't always have to feel like you're alone in this.
I was gonna say you're never alone.
Yeah, always loved. It's like that. It's that theme that keeps coming back around. It's that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm being listened to. That's all right. All right, cool. And you you feel more compassion. You feel a little more like, oh, the world is a special place. The world does have a lot of interesting things in there that maybe I don't understand. Maybe I need to explore this a little more. And it gives just this, I feel like, so much more fun. Like I just enjoy more things that way.
Yeah. My mantra lately has been show me the magic.
Oh,
Just so
that's
I'm
a good
like,
one.
yeah, just so I'm open. I don't even want to be in control of what events unfold in my life anymore. There were so many goals that I wanted to go after and achieve, and we've done it, and that's cool. But now what is exciting and exhilarating for me is just to be present to what shows up, knowing that my internal reality, holding a space of peace and joy and love and like we talked about last week, acceptance. I just am at a place where I want every moment of my life to just come to me in a way where I can be open to not casting my own expectations or disappointments or anything like that on the beauty of what is actually happening.
You were talking exactly about what I brought up in our last podcast, talking about how there's two things you can do. You can either try and control everything, or you can just surrender and say, I'm good with whatever happens because I know that was meant for me in that moment, or I know that that's what I needed to learn from, or I know that that's going to help me with the next stage of my life, or that period of growth that I need. And surrender is so beautiful to see. It is
powerful.
It is incredible. Plus, you're hardly ever disappointed. Like, it's hard to be disappointed if you're just like, I'm okay with whatever. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean not have boundaries. It doesn't mean don't say no to things. It's not about that. It's about just letting life lead you where you need to go instead of just constantly resisting it.
You know, it's so interesting that we think if we control every aspect that we feel safe, like we now know as a trauma response to like be a control freak. But what is interesting is we're like working so hard to like make every little thing just perfect so that we can finally feel safe. But the real safety comes in fully letting go and having that sense of trust.
You know, it reminds me of the times we've gone on vacation with people that bring the whole itinerary.
Oh my God.
They have tried to plan out every 30-minute window of what we are exactly doing, and what ends up happening is that you pass by a different kind of restaurant, or someone needs to go to the bathroom. It throws your thing off, and you can either approach it as, oh my gosh, this is a disaster. I'm on vacation. Like, literally, who cares what happens? As long as I like get some food and go to sleep at night, like, what does it really matter? Like, we're not doing anything else. And so it's such a challenge to be able to be open to things and be able for things to not be just destroyed when things throw you off. You know, it's sometimes like the path that you're not taking is a much more fun path. You know, you plan it out and etch out every detail, which, you know, to some degree is good to do. But at the same time, to always be open to that magic, just like you said. Show me the magic.
I was thinking the only thing that's good to plan out is your grocery list. But even then, I like to be spontaneous. And see what the new options are, you know. I feel like this has been such a fun conversation, and I want to know, like, what are your spirit signs? Do you have one already? Like, if there's a certain song that reminds you of someone that's passed on, are you on the ladybug, penny, rainbow, feather train? Like, what are some of your spirit signs? I definitely want to hear from you. So reach out, DM me, and let me know. Like, tell me your magical spirit stories, because the more I hear, like, there's a great book by Laura Lynn Jackson called Signs that I'm reading, and it's just story after story of like the magical signs that are sent from our past loved ones, and like I freaking cry every chapter because I'm just like, oh my God, it's like happening to other people too, like this really is a thing. And that, like, the more we share these stories, like, yeah, this crazy miracle thing happened, or yeah, this crazy sign showed up. I mean, even just your friend Alex, who's like super skeptical and logical, which is like great, cool, no problem. But even when it hits people like that we know that operate from that like mode, and they're moved by it, or they're blown away or speechless or in awe, like, it's just, you can't deny it anymore. And that's what I find in having these conversations, is just more and more proof that this is happening.
I feel like what a lot of logical people don't realize is how much they miss by even adding just a little bit of, to me, intuition is where you get the spice from life. Like, that's where
Sparkle magic.
That's where you're going to taste the flavors, like in the food. Like, if you ever just cook food and you don't put any spices in there, it's bland. And that's what living with the logical mind all the time is. It's bland. And if you'll just add some intuition, even if you don't believe 100% of it, it doesn't really matter. The spices still work as long as you put them in the food. Just add a little bit extra spice to you. Have a little bit of that extra intuition. Be noticing some extra things. Be open to that magic and be able to like look into your life and be like, I'm going to show up with such a good attitude that magic will naturally be attracted to me. It's different. It's different to operate from.
Show me the magic.
Show me the magic.
Oh, I love it. So share your spirit signs with us. And if you have any topics like this down the woo-woo rabbit hole,
Brit loves it.
Oh, hit me up and we will talk about it. I've loved this. So thank you for being open to, witnessing my spiritual journey of connecting with my guides and angels. And I don't know, like, I guess I just feel like asking you, do you like really believe like this is really a thing? Like this has happened? Like watching? Is it watching like me go through all this crazy stuff? Like, or was there a moment for you where you came into like, yep, spirit signs, guides, angels, whatever? Like, what was that moment for you?
I think for me is that I stopped being interested in what I thought was true or not and started being more interested in what seemingly worked. Like, what brings you more happiness? Like, what brings you more to where you feel like you're living a more magical life? The truth is a little more irrelevant because sometimes our perception of the truth isn't true. It's not actually it. And maybe it was for a moment, but then it doesn't exist outside of that. And a lot of times we can get totally blindsided by our own belief systems, and they don't allow us to experience how much greatness there is in the world. And I feel like you introducing me to so much of this didn't make me say, oh my God, this is wrong, this can't happen. It made me say, who cares really whether it's wrong or whether it can happen or not? And let me see, how does it make me feel? And to be more on that, like, how am I feeling in the moment? Because it doesn't really matter what you're thinking as much as if you're feeling great, who cares? Like the feelings will trump the thoughts. And so I think it adding more sparkle into my life, I'm more than down.
You love the sparkle magic?
Oh my gosh, I do.
And the pink cars.
It's fine.
I literally thought, I wonder how Chris would feel if we painted
the problem is that
pink.
I drive everywhere we go.
But what is the problem? I don't see the problem.
It's too pink for me. It's too much.
But doesn't it make you feel good?
Here we go. It's terrible.
Doesn't me lighting up and feeling good make you feel good?
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is my life.
This is how it works, y'all.
Oh, you're wild.
All right. Anything else on spirit signs, spirit guides, that vibe?
The only last thing I'll say is it doesn't always have to be like a specific like car sign or something like that.
What was our deal with cars?
I think just because we were driving a lot. We did a lot of road trips during that time. We decided I don't like flying that much, so we would drive, and so being on those trips and then talking about magical things while we were on it, or trying to plan out the next couple of years, or how our business was going to change, or our relationship. We would see them at specific at those moments. We would see them like, oh my gosh, there we are. There's like the epiphany moment. There's that pink car. There's that pink truck.
You remember when I asked to see a cardinal feather specifically?
And then it just immediately happened.
It showed up.
Ugh.
It's crazy.
So it's been fun doing that, manifesting and getting more into, a lot of it is how your brain works. It's funny how often I look at what Brit's talking about and the languaging that she's using, and then you look at like neuroscience, and a lot of it's very similar.
Are you saying I'm like a smart neuroscientist without even knowing it?
I love you.
Tell me I'm cute.
Your birthday's coming up.
I fucking know it.
I love you.
Oh my gosh. This has been so much fun. So probably this episode's going to drop after my birthday. It's going to seem a little bit weird, but hey, I'm open to receiving some belated birthday love.
Listen, if this episode drops at all, in August, it will always be Brit's birthday month or birthday year, because we will always be celebrating, and she will always be reminding me how many days it is until then, and how she should at least have every quarter
half birthday.
We have a half birthday at our house. There's a half birthday. She gets presents. It's a thing. It's a half birthday. I mean, yes, everyone knows. No matter what day it is, you can wish Brit a happy birthday. She'll more than gladly accept it. Doesn't matter what day it is.
Well, just like my grandmother said, I can't be too bad because he hasn't left and you're still here. So I'm going to keep celebrating. This was so fun. Again, reach out, share your spirit stories. This is really a deep topic that touches my soul. I mean, the first time I ever watched Long Island Medium, I'm bawling like a baby. Chris looks over and goes, "We can't watch this anymore. You're just crying." I said, "I want to do this for people." And this ultimately kind of, it's just one step down that journey of self-discovery and healing and the magic that we're capable of.
It's beautiful. And I love being a part of it.
Well, thank you for helping me to develop a lot of these skills, not only in providing the books and the trainings and the resources, but, my 28th birthday, you hooked me up with all the psychic mediumship stuff, and went to an astrologer. She's like, honey, you need to be taking higher learning. And I'm like, well, Chris just got me some psychic mediumship stuff and books. And she's like, yes, that. So thank you for always helping to empower me to learn more about the things that I don't even know. Like, this is just weird. Who says that? I want to do that for people. That was a weird moment. And instead of treating me any kind of way, you just supported me. So thank you for that. And we got to use your hypnosis skills to really develop the clairvoyance and the connection to the spirit guides. Again, like looping back, if you want to use the tools that we do to develop our psychic abilities, the spirit guide meditation, hands down.
It's still my favorite. It's still my favorite that I do. A lot of them are extremely transformative, but the spirit guide one always is the most fun.
Oh, it's so crazy. I feel like we should have a whole topic on just the spirit guide meditation and all the different scenarios and experiences we've had going there.
Let's do it.
Oh, love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to today's podcast. We have loved talking about spirit signs, and we want to hear what yours are. So reach out, DM us, and we hope to see you guys inside the club. Peace. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Elevated Life Podcast. Want more? Join us at theelevatedlifeclub.com for mindset upgrades, lifestyle hacks, and spiritual tools to elevate your soul.
Each month features a new masterclass, meditation, yoga practice, and more to help you transform your life one step at a time.
Come join the 7 or Above Club.